Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning if you're in the West Coast. I'm going to wait for you guys to trickle in before I get started. Happy Friday. Say hi in the comments. Let us know where you are logged in from. If you're new, let us know that you're new or this is your first time on one of my lives. Let me know so I can give you a shout out. Um, Hi, Tony. Hi, Paul. Hi, Tristan. Good morning. Hi, Timmy. Hi, Harry from New Jersey. Hi, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. All right. Let me introduce myself, guys. My name is Aisha Chidole. I'm an immigration lawyer and I represent clients all over the United States with their family immigration matter. Our principal offices are in Atlanta and Orlando, but we represent clients in all 50 states and internationally if you have an immigration matter. This is a good live to share with your friends, your family who might need immigration help. So you can share it on WhatsApp, share us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Tell your friends to subscribe and like our channel. I generally come on live on Tuesdays and Fridays. So today I just really want to answer your questions. I don't have any topic in mind today. So today's just going to be a frequently asked questions. I'm just going to scroll through and answer as many of the questions as I can. If you want to schedule a consultation with our office, you can call 407 995 6567. You can also send a WhatsApp message to 404 333 8751. Let me try and pin my phone number on Instagram so that you guys can call the office, and then we'll get into it. I can start reading your questions. How's everyone doing this Friday? All right, give me a second, guys. I can't talk and type at the same time. I'm not a great multitasker when it comes to typing. Okay, I think I got the number in. Oops, this number is wrong. Let me just delete it. Okay, I'll have somebody else pin it. My number is 407 995 6567. WhatsApp is 404 333 8751. I'm having technical difficulties right now. I'm trying to pin it. Okay, so let me answer some of your questions. So Irma Jacobson on YouTube says, I'm searching for an immigration lawyer. Well, welcome to the right place. My firm can assist you with your immigration matter depending on what it is. You can call the office to schedule a consultation. I'm sure you can see the number, going through the banner on the very bottom. If not, it's in my profile, so you should be able to see it. Pedra says, I'm watching from California. Hello, is 10,500 too expensive for a VAWA, or is it competitive price with all the other attorneys? Well, attorneys really do not speak about their prices because of price gouging in public, except with their consultation. But the way I talk to potential clients as far as cost is, you have to ask yourself, what is the value of your freedom? What is it worth to you? To be able to be free, to be able to get on a plane and go to vacation in another state, to be able to get on a plane and go visit your family members, to be able to put your kids through college with a system that allows them to thrive better, to be able to walk without looking behind you whether ICE is going to deport you, or in your case as a VAWA victim, to be able to walk away from an abusive marriage. And there's no price to that. So, depending on the lawyer, and if you feel that whatever the lawyer is doing is worth it to you, don't focus so much on cost. It's just the same way, I always say, a handbag is a handbag, but there's a reason why some people go and purchase a Chanel bag for $10,000 versus, I don't know, going to Old Navy and get a purse for like $100. Both of them can fit in your wallet, but how does it make you feel? So what is the outcome of what you're trying to get out of your immigration? And if that is your freedom and your green card and getting out of an abusive marriage, then you shouldn't worry about the price. Just worry about how you feel about that attorney getting you to where you need to get to. Okay. Let's see. So this person says, YouTube, I filed a 360, 765, 485, and with the receipt as of February 2022. I did biometrics April 2022 and got a prima facie May 2022. Should I start counting EAD processing time from receipt date? So EAD processing time is counted from the date of receipt. And generally, it's usually somewhere between 5 to 9 months on average. There will be some people that will get it earlier or some people that will get it later, but most people, I would say about 80% of people are going to be somewhere inside that little bubble. Okay. All right. Let me see. Someone on Instagram says, what if you did your interview a year ago and you haven't heard back? Is that a cause for concern? Yes, it is a cause for concern if you did your interview a year ago and you haven't heard back. It means a few things. It could be a few things. They could either be investigating you or your spouse. If it's a marriage visa, if there may be something in your record that's raising a red flag to them, they may be preparing for like some inspection. Like sometimes they may do like an unannounced home inspection, work inspection, go meet with some of your neighbors or, your, people that you work with and stuff like that. So I will definitely, with when people questions like that, it's hard without being there, without knowing what was submitted, without being at the interview to be able to say, okay, these are the things that would be concerning. Obviously, if even if we had a consultation and I say these are the things that are concerning, until they actually come with something, you don't know. But what I will suggest is that even though it's been a year and it's a cause for concern, you still want to reach out to USCIS to say that you've had your interview since a year ago and nothing has happened. If you don't hear anything from USCIS, then you might want to consider going through congressional assistance or the ombudsman. The ombudsman right now will not make it as a priority if that is the only issue. But first start with your congressional liaison, depending on who your congressman or woman is, because some states or some if depending on your zip code, if you have somebody that's not immigrant friendly and is just going to just just throw away your mail and your privacy release, you might as well just go through the ombudsman and hopefully they'll get to you at some point. Okay. Harvey is from Colorado, by the way. Awesome. And he says, correct, there's no prize for freedom and your peace of mind. Absolutely. Kay says, yes, you're right. Your freedom is everything. And see if you can do partial payments. Exactly. Speak to that lawyer, find out if that lawyer can do partial payments. And, if they can, that should hopefully help you. Okay, so Emma Jacobson says, what is the processing time for spousal visa application with kids under 18 years old? So spousal visa means that this person is essentially consular processing. Consular processing is when you process your immigration petition outside of the United States, like you process your green card application. The answer to this is truly that it depends. It depends on what country are you from. To have you pass the NVC stage, because you first of all have to get documentary qualified after your I-130 gets approved, and then once that gets approved, you're at the mercy of the local embassies and the delay that are coming from the embassies. Some embassies are just taking a much longer time because they were closed for so long during COVID. So there's that backlog. Using Jamaica as an example, Jamaica embassy was closed for a long time with COVID just to reduce the spread. And so because of that, they're paying for the backlog. So as those who are consular processing. But I would say that a good time to plan just mentally between when you submit your I-130 to when you complete is 24 months. Because once you plan, it helps you to get through the wait time. I think I mentioned this before, like I'm personally in the process. What I mean, I'm personally in the process, I mean that, my spouse is petitioning for his mom, and she's in the process as well of consular processing. So, we experience the same thing, but because we are in the industry, like, it doesn't stress me out, just because I know that when it's time, it will happen. And obviously, if anything is awry or crazy, then I can step in. Okay. Um, all right. Is it true that all family-based green card applications within the US are issued within 6 months of application now? Girl, I wish it was true. Then all my clients would have their green card. I have not heard that news. I've not heard that news, and I don't see that ever happening. So no, it's not true. Boo for the Bullet says, I'm applying for my mom. I tried before she was denied. Now I'm in the Air Force. Does it make a difference? So, Boo for the Bullets, I guess the first question is, are you a citizen? Because why was your mom denied? So that would determine whether or not it would make a difference or not. Okay. Hi, Francois. Sanica says, how long after I get married can my husband petition for me? The answer is whenever he wants to. Just make sure that you have bona fides to show that your marriage is legitimate. Okay. Francois says, I'm in Pennsylvania and me and my girl are ready to marry, but I'm scared. What are you scared of? Are you scared of getting married, or what? What, I'm not sure what you're asking me. So, well, if you're scared of getting married, that is a personal problem. I'm just messing around with you. But everybody's scared of getting married, right? Ultimately, you don't know what the outcome of your marriage is going to be. But, if you guys love each other, you just continue working on your marriage. This is a great time to do premarital counseling. A lot of people do premarital counseling. A lot of our clients do premarital and continued counseling. Sometimes I have clients who, they're newlyweds, and somewhere in the middle of the process, one client is called, like, the wife or the husband or whatever is calling me, on some, things are not working out. I'm so frustrated, and I want to get divorced. And sometimes they do benefit from counseling, because the first years of marriage is very tough. You're two different people coming together, and there's just a lot that you need to learn about each other. Now, if you're absolutely not ready to get married, don't go getting married just because you want a green card. But if you love this person and you want to marry them, that's fine to be scared. That's normal because it's an unknown thing, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't push forward if that is something that you truly desire in your heart. Okay. So Grant says, is it normal to not get a receipt for more than 90 days for VAWA I-485? So Grant, honestly, I do not know what's going on with Vermont Service Center right now. Vermont is where VAWA cases are processed, but right now it is normal because, I know several of our clients that I've had to escalate to get their receipts. So it is not normal, but it is what is kind of happening right now. We're finding it happen more with clients who submit the VAWA as a standalone, like if you did an abeyance, meaning that you have a 485 that was already pending from a marriage case and then you only submitted your 360. Those are the cases that we're finding. USCIS will take your money if you're doing it at the same time. So for those cases, we're not seeing any delays because they will cash that check. But the ones without checks, they're not a priority. Like, we're getting receipts now for cases we filed in March, and that's what, April, May, June. So yeah, 90 days. And these are for cases that were filed without a filing fee. So if you're in that category, then that's kind of why. Rog says, do you have an office in Georgia? Yes, we have an office in Georgia. It's in Roswell, Georgia. We're about 5 miles from the Nigerian embassy, and I want to say about 10 miles from the Jamaican embassy. So, you can send us a DM if you want to schedule a consultation. We're undergoing construction right now, though, so we can't see you in the Georgia office, but you can still call us to schedule a consultation via Zoom. Don't worry, we'll have like a grand opening so that those of you in Atlanta can come to the grand opening of the Georgia office once construction is completed. Okay. Boo for the Bula says divorce, dissolution, or annulment. Can any file for a VAWA? So dissolution of marriage is the same thing as divorce. It just depends on the court and how they reference it. Annulment is different. And annulment is basically saying that this marriage was never valid. Like something caused the marriage not to be valid. So a lot of times, with an annulment, I'm always very cautious to find out who filed the annulment. If you, as a victim of VAWA, are filing the annulment, I want to understand why, because essentially you're saying that your marriage was not valid, but then you're filing a VAWA petition saying your marriage was valid, right? And then on the other hand, if it's the abusive spouse filing the annulment, you can use that as something strategic if you do believe that, you were in fact legitimately married, but you have a spouse that's forcing you here because they know you don't have control to sign an annulment document because they want to make sure that they're completely, off record that they've been married to you. Depending on the answer to that, that's what I would usually, say, pick one, who filed for the annulment. But as far as divorce and dissolution, it doesn't matter. If you do get divorced or you dissolve your marriage, just know though that you have to submit your VAWA petition within 2 years of the divorce. If the divorce happened in 2019, as of today, you no longer would qualify. There's no exception to this at this time. You should have filed it before 2020, between the 2019 to 2021, the exact 2-year date. Okay. A Facebook user said, I just scheduled my appointment. I'm anticipating. Awesome. We look forward to chatting with you. Okay, let's see some questions in here. 876 says, can I file for my mom who doesn't live with me? Yes, there's no requirement for your parents to live with you to file for a green card for your parent. Just keep in mind though, only a US citizen can file for a parent. So if so as long as you're a US citizen, you should be good. Okay. Okay, T-Miles says, how long does receipts take these days? My friend submitted since March, yet no receipt has been sent. Like I mentioned earlier, they're taking a really long time. Okay, 87.6. I see the supplements to your question. I am a citizen wanting to file for my mom who is undocumented and lives in the next state. Is that a problem since she doesn't live with me? Her living in another state is not a problem, but her being undocumented is a problem. So when you say undocumented, because this can fall into many categories. Is she undocumented, meaning she didn't come into the country with inspection? There's no record of her entering the country? Or is she in the country after entering with a valid visa and her I-94 has expired? Because those are two different things. If she's undocumented with no record of her in the country, then you cannot do an adjustment of status for her. What you would do is you would file her petition for alien relative. When that is approved, there has to be a hardship waiver. But the hardship waiver, your mom has to have a qualifying relative to get the hardship waiver. And if the hardship waiver is approved, then she has to go back to the home country and finish the process. Keep in mind though, in order for your mom to qualify for a hardship waiver, the only two people that can qualify her for a hardship waiver are a parent that's a US citizen or a green card holder, or a spouse that's a US citizen or a green card holder. You as her child cannot be the qualifying relative. Okay. Grant says, yes, that's what happened. Okay, so I was correct. He's referring to filing receipts for VAWA when he didn't submit it with a fee. So yeah, if you don't submit it with a fee, you're definitely looking at a delay in getting your receipts. So Good Time says, I got 5 prima facie determination letters with VAWA. Is this a good sign or a bad sign? It doesn't mean anything. It's not necessarily a bad sign. It's not necessarily a good sign. It's just exactly what it's meant to be. So the way prima facie documents work is that when you first get your initial prima facie document in a VAWA case, you get it for 12 months. So prima facie determination is basically saying that you submitted the bare minimum to be classified as a VAWA victim, but now they're going to basically use a fine tooth comb and start going through your start going through the rest of the application to make sure there's nothing else that they need. Okay. And then after that, you're going to start getting automatic renewals of that prima facie determination for 180 days at a time. So 6 months at a time. So you get that up until they make a decision on your case. Now, let me do my math. So if you've gotten it 6 times, that probably puts you at an additional 3 years plus the other one. So that means you've been waiting for 4 years. If you've been waiting for 4 years, then that will be something that's concerning to me. And so if you've been waiting for 4 years, you definitely want to reach out to counsel, to reach out to the VAWA hotline, or you can write your letter as well, just to find out what exactly is going on with the case, because that is a long time. Most VAWA cases, they're going to make a decision between 2 years to 2.5 years. 4 years is a really long time. Okay. Kanye says, I had an interview in 2020. I had an interview in 2020, and I had 2 RFEs I responded to, the last one in January, and I'm getting divorced. What's my next step? You'll need to notify USCIS, because if you're filing based on marriage, you don't qualify based on marriage again. If you don't do that, you will basically run the risk of having your green card taken. Let's say they approve your green card based on the RFE. You'll run the risk of that getting taken away from you during naturalization, because you technically were not supposed to receive it. I don't know if you guys saw, I had posted earlier this week how we won an N336 hearing for a client who had a similar situation where basically the question was, were you divorced at the time you were giving your green card, or was a divorce pending? Basically, we're about to take your green card away from you, and this was, brought up during naturalization. So we had to, make these arguments that eventually won to show that the person was actually free to marry and not divorced. So you want to be very careful with that. You're welcome, Boo for the Boolas. Hey, Carissa. Thanks for tuning in. Pisha said, good day. How long does sibling filings take? Too long. To me, it's truly the worst petition you can make. However, if that's the only option you have, then that's what it is. But, it could be anywhere from like 16 to 18 years at this point. Maybe sometime in the future, they're going to change it where it's a shorter timeline, but it takes a really long time. That's why it's the last priority category, because it's just not, they figure and I know I've explained this a few times to you guys. Their goal is immediate family relatives, and then family preference categories. And for them, the priorities are, like their parents, spouses, children. Siblings are not a priority. So that's why it takes a really long time. But if you do file a sibling petition, the good thing is it doesn't stop you from qualifying and filing for other petitions that you might qualify for while you're waiting. And once any of the other ones come through, then it doesn't matter. And if none ever come through, by the time the sibling one comes through, you and your children, and spouse could potentially be able to come to the United States. Keep in mind, though, that because siblings takes a really long time, the odds are not likely that having the sibling wait in America would be in their favor. Because remember, if you're in the family preference category, which siblings is, you cannot overstay your time in order for you to adjust. You can't overstay. And obviously, if they stamp your entry for 6 months, 17 years, you would have been out of status by then. Okay. Blue for the Blues. Says, what's the implication of an immigrant that got married, abused by his spouse, he kicked out from the house, he met another woman and got her pregnant. What will be his status? So so the male, so are you saying the guy that got kicked out was being abused and he met another woman and he got her pregnant? So the pregnancy is not an issue if you've broken up with your previous spouse and you're moving on to another relationship. What USCIS is concerned about is remarrying. So while your case is pending, if you have a VAWA case, is they don't want you to remarry. If not, your case will essentially be denied. And you didn't state whether this person already has a pending VAWA case or whether or not they don't have a pending VAWA case. But if they remarry, they can file VAWA. If they already have a pending marriage case, it's what it is. I believe that, USCIS just truly wants honesty. And sometimes it's better to just be transparent and honest, in saying, look, we broke up. I've moved on. I met somebody else. We're not married. We have a child together. There's nothing in the rules that say you cannot have a child with somebody else. Okay. Gabby says, can any movement be made if no decision has been made on an expedite request and it's 60 days, no response? Thank you. Probably not, so because remember it's discretionary. Okay, can a green card holder file for a spouse who is outside the country? Absolutely, you can file for a spouse who's outside the country if you're a green card holder. And right now, visas are current, so there's no wait time. However, it could take you about 24 months for the whole process. So just at least plan wisely with that time in mind. All right, let me see if I can answer any other questions. Sadie says, what is the marriage-based green card process in Georgia? It's the same as it is in every country, every state in the United States. It's a federal law, so it's the same. Is it a bad look when your lawyer is in another state? You're in Atlanta and I'm in Pennsylvania. Of course, it's not a bad look. If it was, I wouldn't say I can represent clients in all 50 states. At the end of the day, you want to have a lawyer that's competent, that understands your case and can advocate for you. The location of your lawyer is a moot point, which is why immigration is a federal law, which allows you to pick any lawyer that you want to represent your case. All right. I would like to know, is it possible for me to file an adjustment of status? I filed for my daughter to come to the US from Jamaica, and now she's here in the US on a visiting visa. Can this, okay, your stuff cut off, but Shar, it depends on what your status is. Are you a green card holder? Are you a US citizen? When did your daughter come? You definitely don't want to file within like 90 days because you don't want a presumption of misrepresentation. After 90 days, if your daughter is still in status and she, depending on the type of visa that she had, you can potentially do an adjustment of status because visas are current for LPRs, for LPR meaning green card holder filing for children. Also, if you're a U.S. citizen, obviously you don't have to wait for a visa. Babs, you're welcome. Emmanuel says, how long does the whole VAWA process take from start to finish? Majority VAWA cases will be decided upon between 2 years to 2.5 years. I filed an I-130 petition last year while my husband was a green card holder, and it's still pending. And this year I'm filing for a VAWA petition, and my husband just became a citizen. I want to ask if I can switch the priority dates on my I-130 to my VAWA petition so I can get my work permit sooner. No, you're not going to get your work permit sooner. Wait. So when you file an I-130, you didn't file an adjustment of status. Your work permit is attached to your adjustment of status, not your I-130. So you can't switch an I-130 to a 360. An I-130 can only be switched to a 360 if your spouse passed away. So keep in mind that the 360 form is used for many things, not only VAWA. The form is used for many things, i.e., if you're a widow, widower, an Armenian, so there are many things that's used for. So you will still be looking at the normal 5 to 9 months for your work permit. My wife and I have filed for me to come over to USA. It's actually a spousal visa. We filed since last September, but up till now, we've not heard from USCIS yet. My wife is a US citizen. Well, Francis, welcome to the club of everybody who hasn't heard yet. Like I mentioned earlier, if you rewind this live when I finish, I talked about consular processing and the timeline. It just takes a really long time. Everything could take about 24 months. If you filed in September, so that's what, like, so 4 months, because September is the 9th month of the year. So 3 months from last year and June 6th, so 9 months, you're still within processing time. You have ways to go. So I know you're probably eager, and hopefully time will go by fast, but, just try and be patient, okay? Vernice says, we appreciate what you're doing for us. Keep up the awesome job. God will reward you. Amen. Thank you so much. Another person who said that, thank you so much. And Nikia said, thanks for coming on each time. We appreciate you. And you always look forward to these videos and you educating us. All you guys, thank you. Okay, let me see what else. Somebody's asking, what is the I-130? An I-130 is a petition for alien relative. In layman's terms, it's basically the document that you need to be able to file for somebody to get a green card. As long as you as an individual are petitioning for a family member, you need to have an approved I-130, okay? Yolanda Goshman says, hi, attorney. If I'm going to submit an I-130, do I have to submit one for my son if he doesn't live here in America? I live here and he's 18. So the answer to that question depends on the status of your husband. So it depends on who's petitioning for your child and you. So I don't know you personally or your scenario, so I'm just gonna create a scenario. So let's say you're not a citizen or a green card holder and your husband is a US citizen filing for you and your child that is 18 years old. If he's a US citizen, he's going to need to submit an I-130 for you here in the US, along with your adjustment of status. And then he's going to need to submit an I-130 alone for your son. If that I-130 gets approved for your son, then they're going to have to then finish up with consular processing. So the process is a little, it's different, but those can be submitted at the same time. Now let's switch it around. If your husband is a green card holder and he's petitioning for you, you would only need one I-130 to submit the spouse and all the stepchildren. Once that is approved, then they will now separate you and the children for your own NVC applications. It's a little confusing, so I hope that makes some sense to you. A Facebook user says, what if I overstayed my visa and married a US citizen? Is that a problem? My marriage is legitimate, though. Well, I'm glad that your marriage is legitimate because that's what we like to hear. If you overstayed your visa and you're married to a US citizen and your visa is not one that bans you from adjusting your status, it's okay. You can file for adjustment of status and typically USCIS will forgive you for overstaying that visa because you're married to a US citizen, okay? Apata says, hi, good afternoon. How long does it take to get a receipt for filing for VAWA? I believe I just answered this question. The answer depends on whether you're filing VAWA with an abeyance request or you're filing VAWA with a new adjustment of status case where you paid a filing fee. If you didn't pay a filing fee right now, we are seeing 3 to 4 months before we get receipts. Like I said, we're just getting receipts from March. I think we just got one from April, and these are for cases where there was no filing fee paid. So again, if you submit a VAWA petition, with a VAWA petition, you don't pay a fee. What you pay for is your green card application. If you already have a pending green card application based on your marriage or whatever, and you're basically just asking for a transfer, those are the cases that receipt issuance is taking a longer time. Okay. Nikai says, after fingerprints have been added to both the 765 and 485 and I-131, what's the next step if they don't ask for an RFE? The next step is your work permit and travel permit, depending on what kind of case you're filing. If it's a marriage-based case, the next step could very well be an interview. Sometimes you might get interviewed before you get your work permit and travel permit, and you won't even need that anymore. It just depends on scheduling, but more people will get their work permit and travel permit before an interview. If you're a VAWA client, the next step will be your work permit approval and your travel permit approval if there's no RFE. Okay, let me see. So Emma on YouTube says, can I apply for a visitor's visa if I'm married to a green card holder? You applying for a visitor's visa has nothing to do with who you're married to. Even if you were not married, or you were not married to a U.S. citizen, or you were not married to a green card holder, it has nothing to do with you getting a visitor's visa. What USCIS or the local US embassies are concerned with are if sufficient nexus or tie to your home country that would allow them to approve you to enter into the US, because they believe that if they approve you, when it's time for you to go back, you'll go back. If they feel like this person doesn't have any property here, this person doesn't have any children here or spouse here, or whatever the case may be, they could very well say, no, we're not going to approve it because we don't believe you're going to come back. Again, this is very subjective. Each decision is made on that day based on what that person submits and what that officer wants to do. So you always hope and pray that you get an officer that's kind and, wants to approve you. Okay. What if you're out of status and you tried applying for low income apartment? Can this affect your green card process? I'm not very sure I understand your question because I don't know what kind of case you're filing. But if you're filing a marriage-based case, yeah, it can affect you. You shouldn't be taking public assistance if you are petitioning for a green card. If you're a VAWA victim applying for VAWA, then it doesn't matter because they allow you to take that just so that you can get out of the situation that you're in. Okay. Oka James says, just listening to you talk gives us so much hope. You're really awesome. Thank you so much. This Facebook user says, your receptionists are so pleasant and professional. We like that. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for saying that. I will pass on that message to that. Someone says, Babuni says, what will be asked to U.S. citizen spouse in U.S. port of entry in U.S. immigration? I don't understand that question. Are you talking about if you're doing a consular filing for somebody? Like you're filing for somebody outside of the U.S.? If you're filing for someone out of the U.S., the person being interviewed is the non-citizen, not you, the non-citizen. Okay, let me just take a few more before I jump off. Gracefully Broken is asking, how do you file taxes with an ITIN as an illegal immigrant? I do not answer tax questions. I'm not a tax advisor. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a tax preparer. So what I suggest is when you get off this live, Google tax practitioners in your area and just speak with them and let them give you the correct information. Okay? Hmm. Um, okay, I think I answered that question. Um, Afternoon, my question is, can someone that had a felony charge still be qualified to get their citizenship? The answer is it really depends. It depends on what it is. If it's not considered a crime of moral turpitude, you've passed a good moral character time. It would just really depend. It depends on what the crime is. Are you eligible? Um, you know, it really just depends. Felony varies via state. Something that could be like a third degree felony here could be a misdemeanor in another state. So it just really depends on what the charge is and how long ago it was and how much you've redeemed yourself since that time. Is it an offense that's deportable? Like, when you want to think about crime of moral turpitude, you want to think about crimes that make one deportable. It's just like a whole topic on its own that I wouldn't be able to go through right now. Um, Francis Smiley. My name is not Chido. My name is Aisha. So, you know, in the future, you can just type my name. I don't know who Chido is, but based on spousal visa, am I supposed to have a tie in my home country and at the embassy? Do they ask about jobs because I'm a freelancer? If you're applying for a spousal visa, it doesn't matter whether you have a home tie or not. What matters is that you want to be united with your significant other, your spouse here in the United States. So it doesn't matter. Okay, Thick Mandy says crime was selling illegal substances from 2004. Yeah, it could affect citizenship for sure. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. So Funke says, can a person on a VAWA case get married and file for the new spouse who's outside the country? So are you saying that they've been approved for their VAWA? Is that what you're saying? If you've been approved for your VAWA, we generally don't recommend petitioning for a spouse as a green card holder if you got your green card through marriage before 5 years. So, or before you turn into a U.S. citizen, which with VAWA cases you can after 3 years. Um, yep. Is it okay to write a letter to USCIS to inquire about my VAWA case? It's almost 4 years now. Certainly, you can do that. Okay. I think Facebook user says, do you assist with getting a notorious visa? I don't. I only help with immigrants trying to immigrate permanently to the United States. Um, all right, guys. Well, I enjoyed chatting with you guys. I'm going to be on live on Tuesday at 10 a.m. If you want to schedule a consultation, call my office, 407-995-6567. You can also send us a WhatsApp message to call you back, 404-333-8751. And don't forget to like my page, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And you can also like me on TikTok if you've not liked me already. All right, guys, I hope you have a great weekend, and I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.